welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Colon, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast deck. Super happy to be here with you today on the first Sunday of May. How the heck did that happen? That we're already in May, the 5th month of the year. I don't know about you, but I think it's a little crazy. Anyway, remember to share, like, and comment on today's show because it's important that you leave your comments. Let me know what you like about today's show, what's driving with you, and what's sort of boring. I'm hoping nothing's going to be boring, though. So again, share, like, and comment. If you've missed last week's show, you're definitely going to have to go back and watch last week's episode because last week's episode, we did a follow-up with my amazing two guests, Dr. Terry Moss and Nick Rafter. And they did a follow-up based on some of the work that they did 2 weeks ago. So you can watch all of the shows on all of the platforms, most platforms, right here on Strong Island Television, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Roku. And the newest channel is Optimum TV Long Island, which is on, by the way, channel 115 at 2 p.m. every Thursday. So if you've missed anything, please go and watch, especially last week's show. Anyway, let me give a shout out to all my amazing advertising sponsors that help the show run week after week after week. There's a whole slew of them, but there's also an advertising flyer that you can see their information should you wish to reach out to any of them. So we're going to start off with Dr. Terry Moss, who is a doctor of natural medicine. Like I said, she was on the show last week. You want to get to know her because she's definitely going to change your whole view about how you eat. Then we have Joe Monkman. He's our shamanic healing practitioner and wellness advocate. Our third is CJ Ives Lopez. She is the publisher and also founder of the Author's Porch magazine and podcast. And it's all about, as she says, the Author's Porch, where every guest conversation, every great conversation that is, happens, a place created for authors by an author. Then we also have Intuition of the Soul, hosts are Kitty Foss and Amy Martin. Kendrick Greer, by now I'm sure you all know him, our amazing astrologer. Moving into Lisa Nice, who's our physical therapist, and Mary Kay consultant. And then Gabriella, I screw her name up all the time, my apologies. She is our medical intuitive and also the founder of Alive Health Solution. Last but not least is Nick Rafter. He's actually our guest for today. He is our real estate agent and also writer, editor, and journalist. So, as I said, there's a whole lot of advertising sponsors that help this show out week after week after week. There is a flyer. You can connect with any of them at any time that you like. Now that that is out of the way, not that we had to get it out of the way, but I like to get the important things onto the side. So how are we doing this weekend on this first Sunday in May? Now, there's a lot of cosmic energy going on. Now, if you want to grab a pen and paper to write some of this down, you may want to do that because there is a lot of shifting happening. In fact, I actually have some amazing notes. I just want to make sure I can find my amazing notes that I have here because there is a lot of energy that is going on and I can't friggin' find where I put my amazing notes. That's really funny. Okay, anywho's, I'm just gonna wing it. So we have several planets that are in Taurus energy right now, such as the Sun, Moon, Uranus, and the North Node. Had a brain fart there for a minute. All these planets are in Taurus. Now, if you have no idea what Taurus does in regards to astrology, it's the second house, and it's all about how we value ourselves, how we value physical material possessions, and it's also about movement. Now, we can speak of movement in the physical sense where we move our body, because yes, it's about that, but then it's also about moving, where there's so many people right now who are in a transitional period where literally are moving, packing boxes, put it onto a truck, put into their car, and moving their location, whether it be their home or their business. There's a lot of transitions going on right now. Now let's just talk a little bit about this new moon that we are literally right in smack in the middle of right now. An opportunity for you. This new moon is known as the Black New Moon. And why is it called the Black New Moon? Because this is the second new moon of the month. The second new moon of the month, remembering that this took place on the 30th. So it was the second new moon of the month for April. And when anytime we have two moons in the same period of time, that creates a lot of energy. Now, because this new moon is literally smack in this delicious, what we call partial solar eclipse. Eclipse energy allows things to magnify so much more. And this particular new moon energy holds the energy of 100 new moons. So with that gives you the opportunity to really work some magic on the things you're looking to manifest. And the big component here is abundance. Now, whether you want to look at abundance regarding money or abundance regarding health, relationships, fame, travel, whatever it is, or hey, why not go all big and combine it all together? So what I like to do today is I like to just help you manifest the abundance you would like in your life. And how am I going to help you do that? If you've guessed it, with my cards. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to just take a breath here. Because with all this energy, some of you may be feeling really excited, very uplifted, motivated, and really raring to go. And then there might be some of you who are feeling a little overwhelmed right now, a little anxious, a little nervous, a little distracted. And all of it is good, because with this much energy that we have literally flowing in our bodies, we may really feel overwhelmed. Now, something you may not be aware of, when we talk about that Taurus season, Taurus is associated with the throat chakra. So there may be many of you who might be even experiencing some discomforts, physical discomforts that show up in the shoulders, in the jaw, in the throat, and even along the lines of our ears. So if you are someone who is feeling any type of physical symptoms showing up due to the Taurus energy relating to your throat chakra, the best thing you can do to help clear that is, I would recommend, the easiest thing is drinking hot water and going to the store and buying lemon and squeezing the lemon in the hot water and sipping on that throughout the day. That will help to cleanse the throat chakra and clear out whatever might be blocking the energy, so your body can start to move more into ease. And then recognizing too that everything's going to be okay. So whatever is going on for you right now in your life, whether you are taking a big leap right now and relocating, or you're being pushed to do just that, know that everything is going to be okay. Everything is okay. So with that being said, I'd like you to take a breath in. And just as you exhale, just imagine, and I'm going to use the color blue because that's what the throat chakra is. Use that turquoise energy, just breathe out. And as you do, breathing out anything that doesn't serve you anymore. So you're going to release this energy. And let's see what chakra we can work with today, what affirmation is going to show up, and what number is going to provide a hidden message and align to astrology. And I love the fact that this card just showed up. So here's our card for the day. It's turquoise, and you saw me shaking up the cards. The message here is love partnership, which is what Taurus is all about. It's about relationships. So whether that love relationship is for self, or loving somebody else, or even when we think about partnership, the actual partnership that you do have with your job or career. And do you love it? Do you love it? I truly believe, because we spend a lot of time in our jobs and career, we must love it. Because if you don't, you're going to be very grumpy. And this may be the perfect timing to use this solar partial eclipse to help you clear out what doesn't work for you regarding that job or career. The number is 6-3, which is 9. This is really about a transformation. This is about a transition. This is about an evolution. This is about letting go of what no longer serves you, your higher version of yourself. And every one of us are in a major transformation right now, whether we are conscious of it or not. So that is our card for today. So your magic for today, so you can really be aligned to this amazing energy that is here right now, is to, again, get that hot water, squeeze some lemon, and sip on it throughout the day so you can get the throat chakra to activate, so you can begin to express yourself and show up in this beautiful new moon, the Black New Moon partial solar eclipse. which because it's very powerful. And the next time we have another eclipse, which will be a partial lunar eclipse, will take place on May 15, 16. So this energy is very expansive. So be mindful that if you're not in the process of moving just yet, know it's coming. And whether it's coming in your actual home that you're moving from, in your career that you're moving from, maybe you're moving out of a health situation that you're going to start to see yourself get healthier, whatever it is, something is on its way. All right, guys, I would love to know how that lands with you. So go ahead and put in the comments how that lands with you. Are you experiencing physical pain, discomforts, whatever not? And if you are, again, get that hot water going, sip on it throughout the day and see how you start to feel. Put the comments below. All that being said, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to have my guest with me. I'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Each of us has a mission. What's your mission? Would you like to become a community health resource specialist so you can help your family and your community? For more information on this new training, email me at terry@morsewellness.com. That's TERRY @MORSE wellness.com. You can become a community health resource specialist.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. For those of you who are just tuning in, welcome. I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I will introduce my guest in just a moment. But before I dive into anything, because you are just tuning in, share, like, and comment, and you will have to come back to watch the beginning. But I will share a little bit about the beginning, which is all about love and partnerships. As we are in this amazing new black moon, in regards to a partial solar eclipse, this energy is very magical, very powerful, and it is a great time to manifest abundance in all areas of your life. The chakra we're working on is the throat, and that, believe it or not, is associated with Taurus energy anyway. We currently have 4 planets, the sun, moon, Uranus, and the North Node, all in Taurus energy. So there is a lot going on. A major time for transformation and letting things go that no longer serve you. So if something's not working for you anymore, it's time to say bye-bye and make space for what's coming. All right, go back to the beginning to hear the rest. So I'm super excited to have Nick Rafter here with me today. Nick, introduce yourself, please, and welcome.
I'm Nick Rafter, realtor, editor, and I guess those are 2 main things that I do. And yeah, I'm good and happy to be back.
Yes, you were here just last week, so you're always back. So today's topic is about real estate is hot. Will it continue? Will it remain? Will it stay? So let's talk about that a little bit. What is your feelings about, well, let's start off with, how do you feel about the fact that real estate is hot right now? What does that actually mean?
Well, what it really means is that there's an incredible amount of demand, and there's an incredible amount of people who want to move, who want to rent or buy someplace new, want to get more space. Talk about residential real estate mainly, and it's true everywhere. It's true all over the country. I mean, there's been a lot of talk after the pandemic of people leaving New York, which is still a thing. Excuse me. And thank you. And but there's a lot of people coming back. So there was a great exodus during the height of the pandemic 2 years ago when everything was shut down, and people started trickling back slowly. But now there's a huge the last 4 months or so, a huge push of people returning to the New York area, either because their jobs are calling them back or because they moved to realize they didn't like where they were. And that is leading to a huge amount of demand. Now, because a lot of places sold at the start of the pandemic and a lot of places rented at the start of the pandemic, there's not a lot of people moving. So you have a situation where you have very little inventory on the market for very high demand, and it drives prices up. And so that's what's really going on in the New York area at the moment. It's also happening in Florida. It's happening in Arizona. It's happening in Connecticut, Colorado, Minnesota. Hawaii is an interesting place where real estate's being a problem. California has escaped it, but now it's starting to see it again. So it's really a national problem, and actually it's a global problem. I've heard from people in Europe that it's happening in London, Paris.
So now you use the word problem, but yet we're saying that real estate is hot right now. So it's a problem because real estate is hot right now. Like, what's the problem about it?
It's a problem because it's hard to find a place if you're looking. Real estate's sort of a weird thing. It really depends on what part of it you're working in, on whether or not it's a negative or positive thing. If you're selling a house right now, this is great. My house in the corner of my block sold back in December for over $1 million. They had a line out the door the first day it was on the market to see it, and they had an offer above asking price, 1.2 million, within 3 days. And
Wow.
the owners who had lived there for about 30, 35 years, we knew them, admitted that they didn't even think they would get $1 million. They said, we were pushing it with $1 million, and they got $1 million too. And so if you're selling your house, or if you're a landlord looking to rent right now, this is the hot market is good. But if you're looking, and you're in a budget, it's not so good. So, the other problem with having a hot real estate market is that it creates what you would call a bubble, where prices can only go up so much before they become completely untenable, and then they collapse. And this is what happened in 2007, 2008, where the cost of housing, basically inflated like a bubble and then popped. Because what started to happen is that people were buying houses they couldn't afford. And they weren't keeping up with the mortgages, they weren't able to keep up with the rents, and so there was a lot of foreclosures, and so that created basically a bubble bursting. There's great risk of that happening again. Since 2007, there's been a lot of legislation that was put in place to prevent that from happening again, but there isn't enough protection there. And I've seen some mortgages that were given out that I'm a little bit like with, because I feel like there's a risk there of those mortgages defaulting at some point. And so I think there's a great risk of another bubble bursting. What's my intuition telling me?
We're gonna hold that. We're gonna hold that. Okay.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna hold that off to when we come back from a commercial break, because that's a bigger part, and I don't want to get cut off midway. But before we dive into that commercial break, when we think about the factor that real estate is hot, and theoretically, I mean, as you said, it's hot in reference to the agents. In regards to the ones who are actually looking right now, it could be a little overwhelming for them, because it's almost to the point where, like, for every 5 people looking at a house, there's only one house, so to speak.
Yeah.
Is that the way to look at it?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the case, really. But I mean, it's beyond that at this point. I mean, you have 20 people bidding on a house, and we even rentals, and you never see this at rentals. We've had weeks in April, and I gotta be honest, it's cooling a little bit now, but in the first 2 weeks of April, we had listings we put on the market and on the rental side where people are emailing us hours after it goes up, not even wanting to see it, just wanting to apply because they're so desperate for a place. And I have never, 5.5 years in the industry, I've never seen that. And I've talked to people who were in the industry 10, 15 years who said they've never seen it to that level. I mean, and the only closest thing to it is that 2007, 2008 timeframe, right before we had the financial crisis.
Got it. So with that being said, let our viewers know how they can reach you.
Sure, you can reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com. You can reach me at my email, my work address, which is nrafter@corcoran.com, or my website, nickrafterwrites.com.
Awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, just like Nick was just about to share, we're going to go into a little bit of intuition, what Nick and I have been talking about behind the scenes. We're going to come back with that and talk about that. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kitty Foss.
And I'm Amy J.
And we're Intuition of the Soul. We are a Facebook and YouTube group that has created a sacred spiritual place to look at your spiritual practices.
And there's too much to tell you about what we do, but let me tell you, we have weekly activities, we have monthly activities, and you are not going to want to miss our spiritual practitioner series. So join us on Intuition of the Soul.
Aloha.
Hi, my name is Lisa Nice, and I'm an independent beauty consultant for Mary Kay. I'm also a single mom of 5 and a physical therapist, so I love Mary Kay because it fits so nicely into my lifestyle. New year, new you. I'm looking for 15 faces, and it's a free either facial or a glam look. You get free samples, and you get entered to win a $200 beautiful Kate Spade bag. So if anything about this commercial has interested you, like number 1, the opportunity, number 2, be a face. So call me, 908-546-0266. Try it, you're gonna love it.
Hi, I'm CJ. The Author's Porch is a community where you find good books and good people. We collaborate with services that deliver quality to authors and publish a magazine for authors by authors. Come by, let us feature you or review your book. Coffee is always on, and no matter what time you arrive or where you come from, the porch light is always on.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Nick Rafter, who is our real estate agent, journalist, writer, and editor. And today we are speaking about how the real estate is hot and will it stay? Now, if you missed the first part of the show, you're going to have to come back and watch, and you can watch it on all the platforms, including Roku. And for those who live in Long Island, we are now on Optimum TV Long Island on channel 115, 2 p.m. on Thursdays. So as Nick and I were chatting about the real estate, Nick mentioned something about his intuition. So Nick, talk to me a little bit about your intuition and how this connects with real estate right now.
Sure. Well, I've learned in the past 2-3 years how to listen to intuition. And one of my biggest problems was I never did. And so, I was always surprised when I said, I felt that. Why did that happen? And so I've learned to listen to it more. And I've realized a lot of times, almost all the time, it is very predictive of what's going to happen. Even if it's not on the money, it sort of, prepares me for what's going to happen. So with real estate, I've been doing that lately. And one of the things that my intuition told me 6 months ago, and everyone told me I was crazy, was that we were going to have this type of market where rentals would be nowhere to be found. Like, would inventory be low and it'd be a problem. And people said it was nuts. People were leaving New York. It was not, New York was dead, all this other stuff. But I sort of looked at I did it from two areas, from my own intuition and from the facts that confirm my intuition, which was I saw the number of rental deals that were made in 2020 below market rate and with a lot of promotions towards the tenants. And I said, those are people who are going to sit in those apartments for a long time. They're not going to let go of their below market rate apartments, which means that people who normally would move after a year or two aren't going to, and that would reduce the inventory now, And I said, that's one example. My other example were that there was a lot of people who were starting to talk about coming back to New York who had left because they were unhappy with wherever they went, or wanting to at least have a second place in New York. And I said, well, that's gonna be a thing in the next few months that we should keep an eye on. And the third thing with a number of people who with pied-à-terres, which are basically they buy an apartment in New York and don't live in it. It's just a place to spend money.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of in the political world, there's a lot of discussion whether or not they're going to ban those or heavily tax them. And with the government changing in 2020, that risk became more apparent, even though it hasn't happened yet. And so it just made financial sense now for people who had pet-a-terres to either sell them or rent them out.
Now, a quick question, and it may not be relevant to this at all, but because my analytical brain is working, why would the government care if someone has an apartment that they're not living in, but they have it? They're still paying rent, yes?
Well, they're paying, they're owning it, so they're paying taxes. And
Okay, yes.
But what it's doing is it's reducing the number of vacant apartments there are on the market. So, if you're looking for people who want to live in an apartment, and say all these people have apartments they're not living in, it's sort of a mismatch there.
Okay.
In the apartment, why would you give it to somebody who wants to live in the apartment? Now, the incentives have been to rent them out or to Airbnb them or to do something where the apartment actually gets use. And I looked at that and I said, well, a lot of people who have pet-a-terres in New York are going to end up selling them or not keeping them because international travel has been difficult. A lot of people who have pet-a-terres live in China, and China's still doing lockdowns for COVID.
Okay.
As of right now, China's largest city is still in lockdown. And so I said, a lot of these people are not going to want to invest in property in New York where they don't know if they're going to get taxed on it. They don't know what the situation is going to be. And they're not going to be able to come here. Some people who don't live in them maybe 2 months of the year, and that's it. So I said, all of these things point to a market that is going to be incredibly hot in 2022. And so that's what happened. So now I'm looking at my intuition and I'm saying, all right, well, everything is overpriced and there's going to be a problem with people being able to find homes and stay in them. Rent is going up because inflation is highest in 40 years. Rent's going to follow suit. Even rent stabilized apartments are going to go up. And this is going to create sort of a bubble that's going to pop. Now, I don't think it's going to be as serious as it was in 2008, simply because you don't have the level of deregulation in the mortgage industry that you had then, where a lot of these mortgages aren't going to default and go into foreclosure. But it still could potentially happen. And I also think that when it does happen, the state will be more willing to step in earlier than they were then. So with all that, my intuition is telling me that, 6 months from now to a year from now, probably more like 6 months from now, you're going to see a great cooling of the market. And, what that means for people who are looking to move or looking to sell, my advice would be that, the simple advice, they can go into more detail if you want, would be if you're looking to sell, do it now. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking to buy, wait maybe 3 or 4 months if you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because Nick and I, like I say, him and I chat a lot behind the scenes. We talk a lot in the course of a week. If we actually got paid for the time that him and I chatted all the time, we'd probably be making a lot of money. And what him and I were chatting about last night, when he brought up the whole fact of what his intuition was saying, I had said to him that it's very interesting that he brings that up, because I was having a conversation just the other day, literally, I think it was yesterday, with my husband about the same exact thing, where I was saying intuitively that I believe that over time, and if I had to put a number on it, probably within the next year or two, there's going to be a lot of businesses, whether it's small businesses or even large businesses, downsizing to the point where they're getting rid of their space and literally are going to be going virtual, because that seems to be where the energy is flowing right now. And those businesses that can actually run virtually, why not? Because it's going to help them also save a overhead if they really don't need it. And I really think we're going to start to see more of that within the next year or two. And I had shared that with Nick yesterday. And Nick, if you can share, if you can remember what it was you said when I shared that with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to hit the commercial market harder than the residential market. But I think the one thing that will probably help is that we know it's coming. So a lot of commercial real estate developers and owners know it's coming and are able to sort of, or they're able to, whether they do it or not is still to be seen, to transition. So, use empty commercial buildings, convert them to residential, or convert them to education where they can be used as schools, or convert them to manufacturing, or convert them to hotels or something different to use with them, so that you don't have the same kind of bubble. And if that does happen, if some of these commercial, especially in the city, because you really can't do it in the suburbs, but if some of these commercial buildings get converted to residential, that floods the market with more residential units, which then cools the residential market. And so that's another thing I think about we're going to see happening, specifically in Manhattan. I don't think you can do it honestly. And people talk about Manhattan a lot. The commercial real estate market is worse in the suburbs than it is in Manhattan, because in the suburbs you have a lot of these like office parks right on the side of the highway. You see them in Nassau County a lot, on Jericho Turnpike, or you see them in Westchester a lot. And these office parks are just like local offices, and usually they're local businesses. These are the ones where a lot of that downsizing is happening. So they're already, businesses that aren't that big. And, I'll give you a good example. My accountant out in Long Island has an office in an office park, or had an office in an office park. It was in this office building on the side of Route 111. And he was one of like maybe 12, 13 businesses in there, with some doctors and some, printing press was in there, and there was something else in there. He has gotten rid of his office completely because he was the only person working in it. It was him and his secretary. His secretary retired, and now he works completely out of his home. And he said, of the 12, 13 people who are in there, maybe 6 of them now are all remote. And so a lot of these office parks are just dead office space. In the city, the businesses that own a lot of this office space are large businesses like Google or Facebook or Apple, and so they at least need some of that office space, if not as much.
And what I want to zoom in on just for a second, based on the 2 numbers you mentioned when you were speaking about that gentleman who has downsized and is working now out of his office, out of his home, one of the numbers you mentioned was 111. Mm-hmm. Now, when we think about 111 in numerology, or even, in numerology, it's classified as an angel number. And what it actually means is keeping your thoughts positive. And I think that was really why I wanted to share, is because we do want to keep our thoughts positive here, because again, those who might be in business, and I know that, we are talking between residential and commercial for right now, those who might be in business could create a nervousness of what will happen to their business. But again, whatever direction this is going to go in, it's going to work out for everyone's highest good. So it's important to keep their thoughts positive. The second number you mentioned, which I thought was interesting, is 13. And the number 13, when translated into a single, when we transformed into a single digit, it's a number 4. And that's about your foundation. And when we think about the foundation here, the foundation is about people's spaces that they're working out of, that they spend 8 to 12 hours a day in. So I found that very interesting on those 2 numbers that you mentioned in regards to what's going on with that person that you spoke of. So that was interesting.
One of the positive things that I think is worth looking at here, that I should really push on this, because this is actually a positive thing, is the commercial market up until about 3 or 4 years ago, what really, really, really sucked if you were a new business owner and you were trying to build a business. It was really hard to get good commercial space. I mean, and so a lot of people had to start businesses in basements or in homes or in garages, and they weren't able to get that kind of like, front business, like storefront or in a nice building kind of mentality, because it does matter. I mean, if you're starting a law firm, it matters if you're in a nice, beautiful Manhattan skyrise or if you're in a garage. It matters what businesses you're attracting.
Of course.
Stuff like law firms or real estate offices, like they must have brick and mortar offices by law. And so what's likely to happen is that these new businesses that are starting out, new law firms, new real estate offices, new gyms perhaps, and wellness places like yours, they're going to have their pick of where they want to go, because there's going to be so much commercial space offered. And if you're somebody looking for a law firm in the next 5 years, you're going to get like the pick of the office spaces that you want in the city, and that's going to be good.
Yes, I agree. Now, the only thing I want to point out, when we talk about the health and fitness industry, and we talk about my space as a holistic personal training facility, I guess I would have the opportunity or the choice to either stay in my space or take my space virtually as well, take my business virtually as well. So I do have both choices, but there's definitely a benefit to both, I think, in regards to having the storefront where it allows people to come to the storefront and I don't know, it almost, the way I hear it, it's almost like an egotistical thing where it sounds really nice when, people hear, oh, she's got a storefront, she's got a gym behind her, like, oh, wow, whereas if I was actually doing this from my home in my basement, where in fact, that's where I started 22 years ago, in the basement. So it would be quite interesting to see if I end up doing what do they call that, like a full circle experience, where I end up back in the basement or not even in the basement, whatever the case might be.
Right.
So we'll have to see. What was that?
But a downturn in the commercial real estate market gives you that option, a more stronger option. And that's one of the positive things to look at, is that you will have that option, because there'll be the downturn in the market. Whereas when the commercial market was hot, you might not have had that option. There might be no chance you could afford any space, or the space you could afford is not going to be very convenient to you. Exactly. I mean, I've been talking to commercial owners that I work with who say, for the first time in my entire life, my entire 20, 30 years in business, I can consider an office space in, say, the Chrysler Building, which is like a cool thing to consider, because imagine advertising yourself as, my office is in the Chrysler Building. Normally, you wouldn't be able to touch those areas unless you're making millions upon millions of dollars. And
exactly.
Now they can, and so that's, the World Trade Center is another good example of that, downtown. And so there are all these smaller firms and smaller businesses, construction companies and whatnot, that now can take advantage of those very famous, very iconic addresses and use that in their marketing material. Because would you trust a law firm that's in the Chrysler Building versus a law firm that's in, a backyard in the middle of random Queens neighborhood? Like that's a key factor.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. So yeah, I think again, if we're going by our intuition, both yours and my intuition, I think in the upcoming give and take 2 years, there's going to be a major shift going on. So let's all see if both Nick's and my intuition is on track or not, and we'll have to stay tuned for that one. Nick, let everybody know how they can reach you again, because we do need to take another commercial break.
Yep, you can reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com, on our website, nickrafterwrites.com.
Awesome. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to provide maybe a tip or two, and I think Nick's done a lot of that already, but we're going to add one more or two, and then if Nick is open to it, I'm going to give him a card reading. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kitty Foss.
And I'm Amy J.
And we're Intuition of the Soul. We are a Facebook and YouTube group that has created a sacred spiritual place to look at your spiritual practices.
And there's too much to tell you about what we do, but let me tell you, we have weekly activities, we have monthly activities, and you are not going to want to miss our spiritual practitioner series. So join us on Intuition of the Soul.
Aloha.
Hi, my name is Lisa Nice, and I'm an independent beauty consultant for Mary Kay. I'm also a single mom of 5 and a physical therapist, so I love Mary Kay because it fits so nicely into my lifestyle. New year, new you. I'm looking for 15 faces, and it's a free either facial or a glam look. You get free samples, and you get entered to win a $200 Beautiful Kate Spade bag. So if anything about this commercial has interested you, like number 1, the opportunity, number 2, be a face. So call me, 908-546-0266. Try it, you're gonna love it.
Hi, I'm CJ. The Author's Porch is a community where you find good books and good people. We collaborate with services that deliver quality to authors and publish a magazine for authors by authors. Come by, let us feature you or review your book. coffee is always on. And no matter what time you arrive or where you come from, the porch light is always on.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my amazing guest, Nick Rafter, who is our real estate agent and also our journalist, writer, and editor. If you are just tuning in, remember to share, like, and comment on today's show, and you will definitely need to come back to watch what Nick shared, because he shared a lot of hot stuff going on with the real estate business right now. And Nick and I also shared some intuition. So we're kind of curious to know what's going to happen down the road. But what we like to do, and before I go there, know that you can watch the replay on all the major platforms and also Roku. And our newest channel is Optimum TV Long Island on channel 115, 2 p.m. every Thursday. So Nick, if you can share, and I know you've been sharing, maybe one or two tips for our viewers who are possibly thinking about moving or buying, or give me a tip for both. One, our audience who might be looking to buy, and then our audience that's looking to move.
If you're looking to buy, I would shop around for mortgage rates, and I would also, I wouldn't have too long of a buying process, because mortgage rates are shifting and changing. They're going up. And so you want to lock in a rate. So you want to be able to lock it in and buy fairly quickly. That's if you're buying. So you don't want to sit in for three to 6 months waiting to pick a house, because you're going to lose that rate. If you're looking to sell, I would do it as quick as possible. Don't wait on it that much longer, because I can't guarantee that after July the market's going to be good. Also, if you're looking to buy, one thing I want to point out is for investors. If you're looking to buy and flip, this is probably not the time to do that, because you could end up in a situation where you buy a place and you flip it, and because the market's down in a year, you're taking a loss at it. Buying and flipping, save it for when the market isn't as hot. But yeah,
I love it.
Pieces of advice.
I love it. So again, perfect tips for both ends, those who are looking to buy and those who are looking to sell. So Nick, during this part, I always like to give a little bit of something to my guests. So are you open to a reading today?
Of course.
Okay, so what I would like to do for you to do is just think about something you would like some guidance on. You're not going to share it with me because I don't really want to know. What I would like you to do is just say your full name that's on your birth certificate out loud 3 times for me, so I can connect with your energy.
Dominic Francis Rafter. Dominic Francis Rafter. Dominic Francis Rafter.
Awesome. And let's see what our cards have in store for Nick today. Nick, you are going to love this card. New beginnings. New beginnings. So whatever the question was, and he'll be able to share that at the end if he chooses to, excuse me, this is so perfectly aligned to this Taurus energy we have going on right now, because it is really about new beginnings with this amazing new moon, partial solar eclipse, black new moon for that matter, that we are in right now, and all these planets that we have going on in Taurus season, and the fact that Mercury is now in Gemini energy, which happens to be your sun energy. So this is a really great time for a new beginning. Now, the chakra here is the Crown Chakra, which is all about really connecting to your higher self. This new beginning is aligned with your higher consciousness. It's aligned with the different version of you. So if you're going to look to step into a new beginning, but you're staying with a lot of your old habits, patterns, beliefs, and programming, you're not going to step into that new beginning just yet. So what you would have to do is you would have to really work on letting go of what no longer serves this new version of you. Now, I love that number, 10, because that's perfectly aligned with your moon and rising energy, which is Capricorn. And what this is tapping into is that new beginning in your soul's purpose, in your career. So there's a lot of shifts that's happening for you right now. And just in case anyone didn't hear that properly, the word I used was shifts. Okay, not anything else, just shifts. So there is a lot of shifting going on for you in your career, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. And a lot of things going on behind the scenes for you. And considering, just like you said, you're a real estate agent. So you too are definitely feeling, or possibly feeling perhaps a little off-centered, so to speak, if that makes sense, because of all the shifting that is going on in your career. Does this make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you think about that.
The question was about my career, but it makes sense in a lot of different places.
Okay. So it's not about your career?
No.
All right. So what I like you to do.
It can apply to it too.
Okay. What I like you to do is I like for you to tell us your question, and we're gonna tap into some intuition here. So what was your question? I'm getting it's about your relationships.
Yeah, that's what it was about. It was about relationships, about personal. But I think that it's funny because I had this experience the last few days where I've been nostalgic and mourning some of what's been, I don't want to say lost, but some stuff that's in the past that's gone now, and sort of as if I was taking one last moment to let go of these things. So I had that sense of like shedding old skin and that rawness feeling of new skin before it's fully, developed.
Yeah. And also too, something I say a lot when it comes to relationships, because when we think about our relationship, there's a lot that falls in that umbrella of relationships, such as our friendships, our intimate relationships, and also the relationship we have with ourselves and our career. So because again, your career is being sort of reinvented, it's going to look very differently in the next two years, so to speak. Along with that, there's going to be a lot of new relationships coming from that as well. So yes, as you just got done saying, you will have to, and you probably are already, peeling off a lot of the old friendships that no longer serve you. Unless those friendships that you have are also doing the spiritual work that you're doing right now, unless they're in that same alignment, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be peeling away from you because you're not in alignment anymore. Your vibrations are not the same. So you're no longer speaking the same language. And if you're not speaking the same language, you're not on the same page, which brings back to that new beginning. So if you were to, let's say, see that 4 friends were to just sort of be released, that just means you're making space for all new friends to come in. And that could very well be, again, that 10 energy, your soul's purpose. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yes? Yep. Awesome. So again, working on your crown chakra so you can be in line with this, and working on letting go of anything that might be aligned to the ego, and allowing yourself to move into that spiritual wisdom, intuition, psychic abilities, so you can manifest your new beginning, whatever that looks like for you. Okay? So what I'd like you to do, Nick, we are again at another commercial break, our final one with you and I together. So let our viewers know how they can reach you.
Sure. Reach me at nickrafter@gmail.com or nickrafterwrites.com and through a contact info form there.
Excellent. So again, guys, that's what we have for you for today. Again, keep your eyes on, keep your ears open to find out whether or not, as of right now, real estate is hot. Will it continue to stay? And just stay tuned to find out if what Nick and I's intuitions are picking up on, if that's going to be a fact. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I will be back with the conclusion of today's show.
Hello, my name is Nick Rafter, journalist, writer, editor. I'm happy to be offering copy editing and line editing services at competitive industry rates. If you have a book or any document that needs to be edited and thoroughly looked through, please contact me at nickrafter@gmail.com. Let's discuss how to get that work done. That's Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.
Have you had COVID, the jab, booster, taking weekly tests, or been around anyone who has? Hello, I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, the owner of Holistic Fitness located in Queens, and the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast Stack. I would love to help you restore your immune system with Chakra Balance Reiki. I'm currently offering 3 and 6 month prescription plans. All sessions are available virtually and on site. To find out which plan best suits you, text 646-236-9155. I do look forward to helping you restore your immune system and getting onto the road of recovery. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just tuning in, I'm your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and we are at the final end of our show for today. So if you are just tuning in, remember to share, like, and comment. Go back and watch because you're definitely going to want to take a listen to what's going on in real estate right now. Real estate is hot, but will it continue to stay? And then find out if Nick and my intuition is on track or not. So you can watch this on Facebook right here, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Roku, and our newest channel, Optimum TV, Long Island, channel 115, 2 p.m. Thursdays. Now, promo events. We have promos, lots of promos, and everything I'm going to announce here, there is a flyer that you can just go and reach out to each person if you are interested in learning more about them. So we're going to start off with Morse Wellness by Terry Morse. Take control of your life. Then we have Cosmic Energy Soul Readings by me. Spirit Messages and Energy Insights by Joe Monkman. You definitely want to connect with him and connect the first Tuesdays. The first Tuesday, 8 p.m. Information on his flyer. Then we also have Find Your Place with Nick Rafter. Buy, sell, or rent. Nelson Glam Boutique, hosted by Louisa Carrado. Intuition of Your Souls, hosted by Kitty Foss and Amy Martin. They have amazing programs. One of my favorite is on Tuesday nights. So go ahead and check them out. The Author's Porch podcast and magazine, hosted by CJ Ives Lopez. Last but not least, tune in this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month, for Joanne's Cosmic Energy radio show. And I'll be sharing insight about May and all the amazing energy that's about to come in. If you thought you've been feeling a lot of energy now, just wait and hold on and sit at the edge of your seats to find out what's to come. All that being said, tune in 2 weeks. I will be back in 2 weeks. I will be away for May 8th and May 15th, but I'll be back May 22nd. And when I do, I'm coming back with my amazing, amazing guest, Nathan Bradbury. And I look forward to sharing insight with you, with him, with all that's going on in his life. So I'll see you back here in 2 weeks, but I will see you on Wednesday if you follow me on my radio show, Joanne's Cosmic Energy Radio Show. Bye-bye for now. Have a great day.